Welcome to another episode of Real Crime Psychology. Today we visit Tokyo, Japan, a city renowned for its order, safety, and tranquility. But on a cold December night in the year 2000, in the quiet Setagaya district, an unthinkable crime would shatter this peace. A brutal massacre under truly strange circumstances. One that claimed the lives of an innocent family of 4, left a trail of blood and confusion. A killer on the loose and many unanswered questions. This is the ghostly mystery that still haunts Japan to this day. This is the story of the Setagaya family murders, one of Japan's most baffling and gruesome unsolved crimes. A case where the killer left behind everything. DNA, fingerprints, even clothing. And yet, over 2 decades later, the case still runs cold. The Miyazawa family lived in a modest 2-story home in Setagaya, a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of Tokyo. The family included Mikio, 44, a hardworking businessman, Yasuko, 41, a dedicated mother and teacher, Nina, just 8 years old, and little Ray, only 6. They were an ordinary family, living their lives with joy and routine, unaware of the unimaginable horror that awaited them. Their home was in a peculiar spot. It stood isolated, one of the last houses in an area slowly being demolished to make way for the construction of a park. To those of evil and malicious intention, it might have seemed like the perfect place for a predator to make his move. December 30th, 2000. A regular evening for the Miyazawas. Yasuko's mother, who lived nearby, spoke to her daughter earlier that day. Mikio reportedly had a brief argument with some rowdy skateboarders at the local park, but not anything interesting to note. As the night progressed, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Until it was too late. At some point during the night, an intruder entered the Miyazawa home through the second-floor bathroom window, ripping off the window screen to do so. What followed was nothing short of a massacre. Based on the evidence and crime scene analysis, investigators believe Mikio was the first to come into contact with the killer, stabbed multiple times with a 7-inch sashimi knife brought by the attacker. Mikio resisted fiercely, as shown by the defensive wounds on his arms and hands. However, Mikio succumbed to his injuries. His body would later be found at the bottom of the staircase. The initial attack was so aggressive and forceful it caused the tip of the knife to snap. Ray, just 6 years old, was most likely the next victim to be encountered by the killer, was unmercifully strangled to death in his bed. Investigators believe he was killed early in the sequence, likely after Mikio. Who came into contact with the killer first has been under stipulation, debated and theorized online. Ray's small size and defenseless position made him an easy target. Whether the killer resorted to strangulation because of the broken blade is unknown. However, plausible. His death may have been intended to silence him quickly, to prevent alerting the rest of the family. Yasuko and Nina were now the only ones left. They were likely attacked together, or one immediately after the other. Both suffered severe head injuries from an unknown, blunt object, and were then stabbed multiple times. Their bodies were found close to each other in a room on the second floor, suggesting they may have been trying to hide or protect each other. The blunt object is still a mystery to this day. Investigators believe the blunt object was most likely found in the Miyazawa home. But what makes this case truly disturbing and unique is not just the brutality of the murders. It's what the killer did next. After savagely slaying the Miyazawa family, the intruder did not flee. Instead, he lingered in the family home amongst the brutal crime scene he created for hours. The killer ate ice cream from their fridge, used their computer to browse the internet, browsing theater performances and sports news. The killer even used the family's toilet and didn't flush, showcasing how ill-minded this individual truly is. It's as if the intruder felt no fear, no sense of urgency, no remorse for his actions. Instead, he made himself at home in the house of the family he just killed in cold blood. Unlike typical circumstances, the crime scene was like a treasure trove of evidence. The killer left behind their clothing containing DNA, including a jacket, scarf, and gloves. Items likely purchased in Japan but of Korean origin. Blood from an injury sustained during the attack matched the killer's DNA. Fingerprints were found on multiple surfaces in the home, and even the family's computer contained evidence of the killer's activity. One truly chilling clue was a footprint, size 9.5. Investigators traced it to a limited batch sold in Japan. Every piece of evidence in this case pointed to someone who should have been easy for authorities to track down. The evidence appeared to be served up on a plate, and yet, no suspect has ever been arrested in connection with this crime, making the case all the more surrounded in mystery and leaving far more questions than answers. Over the years, many different theories have emerged about the identity and motive of the killer. Some believe the murders were random, and the perpetrator capitalized on the vulnerability of the family in their secluded home, seizing their opportunity, perhaps committed by a drifter or a mentally unstable individual. Others speculate about a revenge plot connected to Mikio's confrontation with the skateboarders earlier that day. But one of the most intriguing theories involves an international connection. Sand found on the killer's clothing within the crime scene matched sand located in South Korea, near a military base. This led some to believe the murderer might have been a soldier or someone with specific ties to that area. Yet, despite extensive investigation, this lead has constantly gone cold. Japanese authorities have collected over 12,000 pieces of evidence regarding the case and interviewed thousands of individuals. But the case remains unsolved. The Miyazawa family's home has since been demolished, but the memory of what happened there continues to haunt the people of Tokyo, Japan, and all those who seek justice in this tragic and truly bizarre murder case. Who could commit such an act of unimaginable violence? Was it a random act? Or was this family targeted for reasons we'll never understand? And how could someone leave so much evidence behind yet vanish without a trace? The Setagaya family murders remain one of Japan's darkest mysteries. A case that serves as a reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring need for justice. Over 2 decades later, the voices of Mikio, Yasuko, Nina, and Rei cry out for answers. And until those answers are found, the events that took place on that cold December night will continue to loom over Setagaya and the entire nation. This has been Real Crime Psychology. If you found this case compelling and want more content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the conversation in the comments below. What's your theory about the case? Do you think we will ever catch this killer? And pray justice finally emerges.